Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 49th part of What If Deku Was a Magical Girl Mascot, Quirk, Magical Girl Mascot. The author of this great fanfic is Emma Ibely. Links to them and original story in the description. Chapter 49, to Kamino. Yaoyorozu explained that the signal was coming from the Kamino ward in Yokohama, and that they should get there around 10 at night. They of course took the bullet train. Katsuki of course was anxious. To be honest, she was angrier than usual and none of them could blame her. After all, she had referred to Izuku as her someone who was her brother in all but blood. "Hey," said Achiko, deciding to talk to her. Katsuki just gritted her teeth. "It's going to be fine," said Achiko. "Look, it's not that," said Katsuki. "What is it?" asked Achiko. "I'm more terrified if Tenya's theory turns out to be true," muttered Katsuki. Achiko froze. "I don't think I'd be able to handle losing him," said Katsuki, "but losing him because he was turned into some sort of puppet for them, that's even worse." "Yeah," sighed Achiko. "Not only would they have magical girls, but there might be a chance he would be their weapon," muttered Katsuki, "unless he's too valuable like that, but still, there is no way it can get worse than that." "Well, there's always the fact that if they do control him, maybe the control can spread to the telepathy and control us too," said Achiko. There was an awkward silence. "Why did you have to say that?" asked Katsuki. "It just came out," said Achiko. "You should just kept your mouth shut," yelled Katsuki. "I'm sorry," cried Achiko. "You're making a scene," said Shoto to the two. Both of them sighed as they tried their best to calm down. Once they discussed more of the mission. After all, they had to figure out where he was and get him out of there. And either way it would be dangerous. They eventually got to the Kamino ward. They had gotten to an area that was closeted off to traffic so that everyone can wander the streets. "We need to be stealthy with this," said Momo. "You're right, expect for Tenya there recognize all of us," said Tsuyu. "Why wouldn't they recognize me?" asked Tenya. "Because you were turned into a girl after the sports festival," said Shoto. "That might be true, but some of them still saw me at the camp," admitted Tenya. "Oh, I didn't think about that," said Yaoyorozu, who then sighed. "Not only that, but all but Hagakure was in the tournament. So that just leaves one who won't be recognized," said Katsuki. "Which is why we need disguises," said Yaoyorozu. "We do," said Katsuki. "I think we should check out that store," said Yaoyorozu, looking at a nearby store. "I have a bad feeling about this, Ribbit," sighed Tsuyu. And so they all got disguises, with Yaoyorozu, Tenya, Tsuyu and Kirishima styling their hair differently. Achiko and Shoto were wearing wigs. As for Katsuki, well, she decided to disguise herself as a man. "Wait, you're really wearing that?" asked Achiko, surprised, wearing a short green wig with a ponytail. "Look, it's better if there's more than one guy. And Leg Day can pull it off, but it's better if he doesn't and icy hot," said Katsuki. Both Achiko and Katsuki looked at Shoto, just stared back at them. Who was wearing a long black wig? "Shoto's still having secure identity issues," said Achiko. Katsuki just nodded. Though there was a pretty big hiccup with Toru's disguise. What are you wearing?" asked Tsuyu. Toru's disguise was a pair of jeans, a hoodie, a face mask and a pair of sunglasses. Well, this might be the best way to hide myself," said Toru. "This is somehow even worse," said Tsuyu. "Yeah, you look like you're going to murder someone," said Kirishima. "You know, with everyone else in disguises. I don't think anyone is going to put together piece you're the invisible girl form UA," said Momo with a sweat drop. "Good point," said Toru. Thankfully she found a dress to wear with everyone else. And so they all left the store with no one the wiser at who they were. However, Shoto realized something as they were leaving the store. "Yaoyorozu, why didn't you just make disguises for us?" asked Shoto. "It would have been bad for the local economy," said Yaoyorozu, lying through her teeth. "If I had made it might hurt," as she made her excuses. "I'm saying this for everyone. We never speak of this shopping trip ever again," muttered Katsuki, putting on a fake deep voice. Everyone agreed to it, plus it was better to not really speak of the mission afterwards. And so they headed to where the tracker told them to go. However, that was when they heard, "Hey, look, it's UA." However, thankfully it wasn't about them, but rather a press conference. It was Nizu, Vladkind, and Aizawa, which told them a few seconds to realize it was him due to the fact he was clean-shaven, his hair was washed and combed, and he was wearing a suit. Everyone in the group were watching in shock. "No way, he hates being on TV," said Kirishima. They listened to how they were apologizing for what had happened through the year with villain attacks. "Fuck," muttered Katsuki, "they're treating them like villains." At the same time in the bar, the League of Villains were headquartered. Izuku was shaking in the pet carrier that they were holding him in. Around his waist was the transformation collar, it was too big for his neck in his case. "Looks like the heroes are becoming the villains," mocked Shigaraki. "Why are you telling me this?" asked Izuku. "Because once everything is done with, you won't be able to do anything with what we have planned," mocked Shigaraki. "You'll just watch, unable to do nothing as we win." "What do you have planned?" asked Izuku. "Oh, it's more fun, for when everything's ready," said Shigaraki. "Not everyone will be swayed by this," said Izuku. There was an awkward silence by this. "Don't you dare mention that," said Shigaraki. "Shigaraki, calm down," said Kirojiri. "I don't want to lose another bar stool." However, Shigaraki managed to calm down, realizing something. "Even with that interview, I doubt that your mother will be able to continue swaying people. They might make it seem like she's just someone in UA's pocket," said Shigaraki. Izuku sighed. He wanted to reach out, but with all of them there he couldn't. "Whatever they're planning to do to me isn't good," thought Izuku, shaking. The League of Villains were still watching the press conference. It was mentioned that the heroes and the police and heroes were still investigating. A rather slimy reporter was asking various questions. Then it got to one about Izuku. The kidnapped student, Izuku Midoriya. His quirk involves the powering up of quirks, giving the target strength. "How do you know that he won't be persuaded to join them?" asked the reporter. Aizawa took a breath as he answered the question. "Izuku Midoriya is my student. I know him very well. He has connections and told me that he will not bond with someone unless he absolutely has to, or the person has a very good reason. I believe that it would take a lot for them to force him to bond with someone who was a villain," said Aizawa. Izuku looked down. He couldn't help to breathe a sigh of relief that his teacher had that much faith in him. "You know what?" said Shigaraki, almost sensing Izuku's relief in that faith. "I think I'll give a hint to our plans. We have no intention in having you bond with us." Izuku blinked at this. What does that mean? He thought. It only made whatever bad feeling he had become even more worse. Back at UA, Mitsuki and Inko were watching. On the bright side, they don't know they're planning tonight, sighed Inko. Yeah, said Mitsuki. Are you sure I can't find that fucker and pick a fight with him? Mitsuki, sighed Inko. Seriously, if he thinks Izuku would just bend to them, said Mitsuki. Inko sighed. We're getting him back tonight, said Mitsuki. Inko nodded. Hoped that everything would be alright. Inko once again started to cry. Mitsuki looked at her friend and gave her a sports drink bottle. Back with the magical girls, they had made it to the building with the tracker. The villain hasn't moved since the yesterday, said Yaoyorozu. They looked at the seemingly abandoned warehouse. So I guess I have to do my thing, won't I? Asked Toru. It seems like it, said Tsuyu. That was when Toru realized something. Wait, said Toru, why didn't I just use my magical girl abilities to make everyone invisible? It would have saved us a ton of time and we wouldn't have needed these disguises. There was an awkward silence. Well, we haven't been thinking rationally, said Tenya. That doesn't excuse Ponytail though, muttered Katsuki. Calm down please, said Ochako. Katsuki took a breath. When this is all over, I'm burning this suit and any pieces of disguises I can get my hands on, growled out Katsuki. As there were people around, Toru found a spot to transform into her magical girl form. She turned herself invisible. Okay, are you guys ready? Asked Toru. They nodded as she turned them invisible. They all climbed the fence of the warehouse and they looked inside the windows. It's too dark to see, said Ochako. Do frogs have good night vision? Asked Toru. Toru. That's rude to say, scolded Tenya. Don't worry, I can make a night vision scope, said Yayorozu. Don't worry, I brought something, said Kirishima. There was an awkward silence. What did you bring? We can't see each other right now, said Katsuki. Said Kirishima. Wait, can you hand it to me? Asked Toru. I think I might be able to see through since it's running on my powers. Okay, where you? Said Kirishima. Over here, said Toru. Kirishima walked over to her. Ow! My foot, said Ochako. Sorry, said Kirishima. I am so tempted to punch Deku in the face when this is all over, muttered Katsuki. Meanwhile, Izuku suddenly shuddered. Who did you just piss off? Asked Dabi, looking at Izuku's face in the carrier. I don't know, mumbled Izuku. It should be noted that Izuku had been forced into awkward conversations with Dabi during his captivity. Also some less so but still awkward conversations with Magna. Back at the warehouse, Kirishima had managed to hand Toru the night vision scope. Toru looked through it and was shocked. Guys, this isn't the right place, and I think we should leave, said Toru. Why? Asked Yayorozu. Can you give it to me? Asked Katsuki. I still have to hold it, said Toru. Whatever, muttered Katsuki. Toru held onto it and Katsuki is that parts of it were visible like the eyepiece. She used the eyepiece and saw that indeed this wasn't where they holding Izuku. Deku isn't here, unfortunately this where they're holding those Nomu things, muttered Katsuki. Had none of them been visible, everyone would have seen them become pale. It was clear they wouldn't be able to help Izuku. And what none of them knew was that things were going to get much more complicated. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 50. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.